First of all, I'm sure you've heard Andy Dalton was in a car accident yesterday with his family, with JJ and the kids. And a scary moment for sure. Everyone was okay. Everyone was healthy. Unfortunately, in the accident, he did sprain his thumb. So Bryce will be playing this week for us, and we'll be evaluating Andy day to day going into this weekend to see if we can get him up as the 2 on game day. So let the team know really just right now coming off the field. They all kind of saw, but I wanted them to have the official, just report the official news about what our plan is going for this weekend.
We call this the Hurry Up Anyway, and this is the Life Comes At You Fast edition. I'm Darin Gantt. This is Kassidy Hill from Panthers.com, and there's stuff going on this week.
There is always stuff going on. There's no such thing as a normal week in the NFL, especially for the Carolina Panthers. But yeah, as we just heard from Dave Canales, Bryce Young will be starting this week for the Panthers. His first start since week 2, after which a quarterback change was made.
Right.
So lots of new looks.
Many times people change quarterbacks because of strategic reasons or performance reasons. This time because of car crash. Welcome to Charlotte. People, be careful out there, folks. And as Andy Dalton said in his press conference yesterday, make sure your kids are in the seat belts. The good news is everybody's safe. Andy, his wife JJ, the kids, Winnie the dog is safe. That's the best news of all. We always want to make sure the dog friends are okay. But with that car crash comes the latest hiccup for the Carolina Panthers, the latest change in a season full of them. Bryce Young, as Kassidy said, starts Sunday at Denver. Not a great time. Denver's playing really good defense at the moment. They're top 5 in the league in most of the important defensive categories, so it's not easy for Bryce going in this week. You were there when Bryce was talking, though. Bryce has this gift of treating everything the same.
He does. It sounded a lot like his press conferences when he was starting. It sounded like his press conferences when he wasn't starting. But that's kind of the beauty of Bryce, is he's not going to have a wild swings up or down. He stays the same because he trusts his process. And the hope for the Panthers is that that process has taken a step forward these past 4 weeks while Andy Dalton has been starting.
One of the things Dave Canales has leaned on when talking about the first change to Andy Dalton was he wanted to see the rest of the offense progress, and we've seen that. The one thing we know about this team right now is the offensive line's pretty good. Top 10 in the league, sacks allowed per pass play. Chuba Hubbard's running the ball really well. So there's a lot of good stuff going on. I think Bryce is coming back into a better situation than he left the last time just because so many other parts have stabilized around him. That was kind of the hope of this offseason to begin with, and that's what they're hoping for Sunday.
Exactly, and I think that's going to be the most interesting part to see is, especially when it comes to that trio of rookie pass catchers, Xavier Legette, Jalen Coker, Jatavian Sanders. They've all taken steps forward the past 4 weeks with Dalton in there and his, veteran presence kind of settling everything down. So what do they look like with Bryce back in there? Does that help Bryce maybe now that his young receiving core kind of know where they're supposed to be and what they're supposed to be doing as well?
Yep. The one thing we don't know at the moment, and ask us again in a couple hours, because again, this is the Life Comes At You Fast edition of the Hurry Up, is what it means for the future. Dave Canales naturally got asked whether that means Bryce is going to start from here on out or whether Andy was going back in next week. Dave just said over and over, not going to get into hypotheticals, this about this week with the Broncos. But I think we also know that Dave's been pretty steadfast prior to this week. I mean, he was asked about it Monday, and he said, Andy's quarterback, we're planning on him starting against the Broncos and on and on. So I think it's reasonable to expect once Andy's well, once he's able to grab a football and throw it, which he wasn't able to do on Wednesday, that Andy will end up in that job at some point, but nobody really knows right now because, again, life comes at you fast and things constantly change around here. But at the moment, it's Bryce Young, it's the Broncos.
And possibly Andy Dalton is number 2. That's not something that Canales did not want to rule out. He said, we'll see how Andy's feeling as the week progresses, how that sprained thumb is coming along. Can he grip a football on Sunday, not Tuesday? Yeah. I don't know what day of the week it is. Can he grip a football on Sunday? And if he can, he could very well still be out there as the number 2 in case he needs to come in.
And, oh, by the way, there was a lot of other stuff going on this week, too. I mean, in any other week, the fact that Jadeveon Clowney's back on the practice field after a 2-week injury absence would be big news. The fact that DJ Wanham, the guy they intended to be his partner in the pass rush on the other side at outside linebacker, practiced for the first time among a group of guys coming back. Adam Thielen's back. Jordan Fuller's back. Josie Jewell is back. John Raddick. I mean, there were a host of guys back on the practice field yesterday, but because there's quarterback chaos, it was like, oh, by the way, your starting outside linebackers are back on the practice field. So a lot of moving parts this week for the Carolina Panthers.
And we will be there to cover it all for you in Denver. Make sure you get your oxygen ready. That place is a little bit tougher to work from.
They say it's mile high. All right, that takes care of us for this edition of the Hurry Up. I'm Darin, she's Kassidy. We'll see you at Panthers.com.